Okay, let's make something. I don't know what I want to make yet. I guess I'll just start throwing some sounds down. Let me grab Sakura. So this says it's a pad, but it sounds like a string. It looks like we're in E minor. And maybe we can change this a little bit as we go. So maybe like the second time we change a little bit. Let's try that over here. What am I trying to say? It sounds to me like the way that this melody is going is it's going to become a very like dark and like atmospheric type of melody, maybe cinematic, I'm not entirely sure. So I might continue in that direction and pick sounds that kind of, complement that sort of vibe. This is not what I was looking for at all, but this may be a cool bass sound for us that we can use. If we want to go like super aggressive and dark and like, it might be too low. I don't think this is the right sound, but I like the pattern, like just copying the other pattern. And then this creeper drone pad thing that I've got going on has a ton of low end in it. You can probably hear that. And if you can't hear it, you can see it. Look at that. It's all that sub information. So let's take away some of that because I don't want, like I'm going to add a kick or a bass or something later on, and I don't want this to be competing with that. And then I'm separating it for the same reason. It's got a lot of low frequencies, so I want to push it out to the sides to get it out of the way of my like kick or my bass or whatever later on. And then I think I do want to add like a soft piano, maybe just like really high in pitch and put like a ton of reverb on it so that it's not like in your face, So maybe we do something like this. And I don't want to get too crazy with this piano pattern because otherwise it'll drown out all this other stuff that I've created before. And like I said, I think I want to put this, like a bunch of effects on this to push it back. So let's try flanger first. Let's make some of these instruments sound a little bit more realistic, especially the piano. And then I think that will be it for the purposes of this video. So this is our like pad string thing that we started with. So let's make this sound a little bit more real. So I hit Alt-A and then Alt-R to randomize everything, pull up the randomization menu. These are the settings that I like. Hit accept. Alt-A, Alt-Q gives us the quantizer. And then if you select one of these, it doesn't really matter. I like the way that the dotted eighth note grid like pops up. But you can play with these and see which one you like best. So dotted eighth note for me. And then let me zoom in a little bit so we can see what's happening. if you hit Alt Q, if this is turned all the way down, nothing has happened. So the notes are exactly where they were to begin with. Whereas if you take this start time knob and turn it all the way up, you'll notice that some of the notes have now been moved, okay? And they've been moved in a very particular way. They've been moved onto the grid that we just selected. So I selected the dotted eighth note grid, which means all of these notes now are right on that grid that I selected. So if you want, some sort of randomization, what you could do is select a grid and then just pull this knob somewhere in between, all the way on and all the way off. I like to have it so that it's pointing kind of at the start time. It accepts. And what you'll notice is now some of these notes are a little bit early. Now some of these notes are a little bit late. And some of them haven't been changed at all. Okay. And then we can accentuate that and make them sound a little bit more real and a little bit less robotic by kind of randomly taking some of these and just moving them a little bit more. Okay, and then if you want to, you can do the same thing and push some of them forwards. That way some of them are a little bit early. Well, actually, before I save the pattern, I'm also going to pan some of my downbeat notes. So my 1, my 3, my computer, please stop lagging. Holy cow. Thank you. 1, 3, 5, 7. And then basically the odd numbers. It's what I'm looking at. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. Okay. And the reason I do the downbeat notes usually is because that's often where my kicks and my 808s land. And so the idea is where those typically land, I'm pushing those lower frequencies out to the sides. In this case, there's not a lower and a higher frequency, it's just notes. So, but the idea is the same. I just want to push some of those sounds out of the way so that my kick and my 808 isn't competing with as much later on. And let's do the same on the other one. So Control A, Alt, Control A, Alt R. I think I said Alt A earlier. I meant to say Control A. So Control A, Alt R pulls up the randomization menu. Alt Q pulls up the quantizer. Pick a grid, put this somewhere in between, hit accept, and then just kind of take some of them. And this time I'll move them forwards this time. I'll do the same thing. I'll take some of the ones on the odd numbers and I will pan them. And I'm going to pan them the opposite direction. And that's so that it's easier to distinguish the two sounds. If they're playing in the same exact channel at the same time, it's going to be slightly harder to distinguish the two sounds from one another. It's going to sound like it's all one sound, basically, which might be what you want. But in this case, I want them to be distinct. I want you to hear something over here and something over there and be able to tell, oh, those are different sounds, Pull some of these back. Actually, before I do that, on this one, I'm going to strum them. So Control A, Alt S pulls up the strum menu. I have it the way that I want it already. So hit accept. Now I'm going to kind of randomly pull some of them back a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the lowest notes and I'm going to pan them. Okay, so 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, all the odds. And then there's not an opposite direction. So normally what I would do is go back up here. Which one of these was lower? I think this one was lower in frequency and this one starts up. So I'm going to start my next one down. Same. So this one we're going to start down. And then do the same thing for the piano. So Control A, Alt R, Alt Q, and then just take some of them. Oh, and I'm going to strum these as well. So Control A, Alt S, and then I'm going to take some of them and just kind of move them. You want to move it, move it. You like to move it, move it. Right, and then take some of the downbeat notes, and I guess I can do the opposite of what I just did. So I started going down, right? And so I'll go up this time. And that's about it. So let's listen back to, I haven't consolidated everything yet, but it's not that big of a deal. I'll do that later. So let's listen back to it.